So I want you to ask yourself this question. Do they actually want me, or do I think that if I wear them down, they'll finally choose me? Like, I need you to be clear on the fact that are they doing anything to prove that they actually want to be there? Are they actually making any type of effort? Are they trying? Are they communicating with you? Are they telling you, look, I'm working through things? Or are they actually speaking to you? I think sometimes we get so caught up in what we think can happen that we fail to realize what is happening. Like, we want things to happen when we think we're ready. And the reality is that no matter how much you push, no matter how much you ask, no matter how much you give, no matter how much you do, it's never going to make a person that does not desire to be with you be ready to be with you. It's not going to make someone that has made it clear that they don't want to be in your life to be in your life. The hard part for us is not so much knowing that they're doing what they're doing, it's actually accepting it. Because for a lot of us, we've envisioned something that isn't our reality. We've created a storyline of something that doesn't exist. And until you learn to break up with that storyline, you'll continue to get dragged along by your life. Too many people are stuck on this rut of repeating cycles with people that have already shown them what they think. And I know it's difficult. I get it. It's hard to let go of something that you've wanted for so long. It's so hard to finally say, okay, this thing is not serving me. It's killing me. It's so hard to say that I'm so done being in the same place with the same person and the same thing and getting nothing out of it. I know that it's hard to finally come to terms with that. But the thing that's going to hurt the most, the thing that's going to be harder to do, is to sit back and realize that you missed out on so many wonderful possibilities because you were holding on to something that clearly didn't want to be with you. And that hurts even more. That hurts so much more to know that life could have been so different. That the things that you've actually wanted in your life could have actually been real. But you kept going back to a thing that you had hope for. And I don't want to discourage hope, and I don't want to discourage options and opportunity, but there needs to be a fine line between authentic hope and delusional hope, where you hope for things to change opposed to hope that things will be. And when you're hoping for things to change, you're just sitting there trying to force something to work. Unfortunately, you'll never force them because you can't. You can't force yourself. You can't force any other human being to be different. And I see it so much. I see it so often in the conversations that I have with so many different people about the same exact thing. Like, we are in cycles of trying to convince people of our value while devaluing ourselves. And that's the oxymoron there, right? That you're trying to tell somebody of something. You're trying to show them value while proving to them that you're willing to take less, that you're willing to be offered less in hopes that they might finally pick you. Why we struggle to let people go is because we consistently think that if we do more, that they'll finally respond more, and they won't. All that's going to happen is that you're going to be more tired. You're going to be more aggravated. You're going to hate yourself more because you're willing to sell yourself less. And until we break those cycles of repetitiveness, until we say, okay, enough is enough, you're going to continue to be there. So I've been giving this advice a lot often in the conversations that I've had with people and stuff that I'm trying to take myself, right? I'm nowhere near perfect. No one is. But there's things that I've been trying to fix and work on with me. And this is the reality that you need to start giving you advice. Like, you need to start looking at yourself from a different perspective and telling yourself things that you would tell that person. So if this person is still dragging them along, still doing all these things, what would you say to them? Like, how would you tell them they should address that? What would you suggest? Not so much as yourself, objectively, but more subjectively, away from the situation. Why? Because it's harder for us to take our own advice. Like, most people, when they go to therapy or when they go to counseling or they have a coach or a mentor, whatever it is, when they go to these things, they already know what they want. They already know what they need to hear. They just need to hear it from a different perspective. And what makes it so difficult is that even if you hear it, it's not about hearing it, it's about applying it. Because there's no such thing as knowledge without application. You can know everything in the world, but if you do nothing about it, then it means nothing. You have to actually take the things you know and do something with it. If you don't apply it, then it's pointless knowledge. So knowing what you're going to do, advising that person on that particular thing, helping them change. For a lot of us, we keep spinning our wheels. We keep staying in the same exact place because we haven't realized that until we do the difficult thing, until we take that step, that difficult step to step away from somebody or move away from the situation, until we take that next step, we will continue to sit in the same place mad at ourselves. You can't continue to let people say and do whatever they want and then get mad at them because they're doing what they were showing you. You have to be very clear what's welcomed and what's not. And some boundaries in your life need to be so concrete that even you don't cross them. They need to be so firm that people around you know not to go against them. But if you continue to sit here and let them do what they want, they'll continue to sit here and do whatever they want, because there hasn't been anything that's been declared to them. Unfortunately, there are some people in this world that we can want dearly. We can want them in our lives completely, but they're not fit to be in our lives because they don't actually bring you any value. Like, they don't actually do anything for you. One thing that I've learned this recent year is that I don't crave friendships that don't crave me back. Like, I mean, like, I don't want to have to search for people. And first of all, be very clear, I get it. Life is tough. My life is very complicated and very messy and all these thousands of things. And I'm never going to beg or hold anyone against it for not being in it. But it's out of my character to sit here and try to convince people to be in it, to be in my life, to be around me. And I get it. Everyone's going through things. So I will never hold that against people, but I will never be the one that's going to force people to be in a place that they don't desire to be. At the end of the day, the people that value you will make those things clear. Even if it's in passing moments and in passing days, we all have 1,000 things happening, but there should be some sense of love and respect. And if you know that and you have your people, great. But you shouldn't have to sit here and crave things from people that they don't offer you. And this is for any type of relationship. And I think that's why we struggle with certain relationships, because we think that they should be different. We think that they should speak more to us, that they should be more around. And I agree. I mean, if you love somebody, you want to hear from them and know from them. But then you also need to take that at face value, because they're different type of relationships. Those are platonic, or friends. You know, you give them a little bit more grace. You understand that things are crazy. But those that are romantic, or trying to be romantic at least, then those are held at a different standard. We can't expect to know each other if we've never actually spoke. And then in that same breath, after you've made these steps and made all this effort, if you go back and we circle back to the beginning of all this, if you've done all these things, if you made all that effort, if you tried, and they still aren't budging, then you need to realize that it's not because of you, that they've chosen something else that isn't you. And it's not your job to convince them to choose you. It's not your job to convince them that you are the best possible thing. It's not your job to show a person how much you matter when they keep offering you less. It's not your job to tell people who you are. If they choose anything else but you, if they don't show you love, if they are not reciprocal in what you give, if they don't actually make any effort towards you, you need to finally step up for yourself and say, I'm done begging. I'm done asking people to see me for what I'm worth. I'm going to start declaring and demanding my worth. Because at the end of the day, some people will just continue to devalue you, because they've had access to you for so long that they've become noseblind to you. And the truth is that until they're in something bad, or until they're away from you, or until they realize who you actually are and what you're actually worth, they'll never offer you that. And it's not your job to ever prove it. You simply must be. And those that desire to give that to you will give that to you. If you have to fake it, it's not worth it. So, going back to that point, some people just never know what you are and what you're worth. And you got to stop begging people to see it. You got to stop begging people to understand value. Cheap people will never understand value. Let them be cheap. Let them miss out on you, because it's not your job.